All right, hey, it's Thursday morning. You know what that means?
Dads with coffee.
We're just talking. So, I've noticed this week that you've put out a new email.
Yes, yes. It is the Lottie Moon Christmas offering month.
Right.
So church goals 10,000, national goals hundreds of million.
Good.
But our church goals 10,000. It supports missions and ministries around the world. Our Southern Baptist missionaries. But this first week, it's always the Sunday after Thanksgiving to the first Sunday of December, is what is called the Week of Prayer. When I was growing up, it was Week of Prayer for foreign missions.
Right.
Now it's Week of Prayer for international missionaries. And so, new email every day this week highlighting a different one of those. There's a video in it. There's an article in it. Plus a couple of other announcements like Workday this Saturday.
Right. We've changed a lot. We've changed a lot with the ability to express ourselves through technology and for the IMB also to be able to help us to understand a little more what is international missions and what do those missions look like and why are they important?
Right.
When I think of missions, of course, 90% of the time, I think back to the Navy days.
Oh, well, yeah. So what does mission mean to you after 22 years?
Well, sometimes
less than half of your life.
Less than half of my life. That's correct. Early on in my career, our missions were very much different than the last half. First half of my career, I worked on a P3, and we were about chasing bad guys. In the early 90s, we were still at the back end of the Cold War. So we were chasing Russian subs. And we got to go to some places and see some things and some stuff that we don't always talk about.
It's top secret stuff.
It's not triple top secret. Cut your head off kind of stuff. It's not that
So
bad.
it can be released in 75 years from the time of its deal. Is that what it's like? JFK stuff.
But when you actively go out and you spend, I didn't ever have to do this, thankfully, but 10 to 12 hours on station tracking submarines. Or later on in the same platform, we'd go down to the Caribbean and we would track drug runners in the Caribbean. That mission, mission was to keep us safe. The mission was to provide a layer of safety for our borders. Because ultimately that's what the military is about, protecting our borders. Later on in my career, our mission changed. My mission changed to get people to places where they couldn't get to without us. Whether that be ground troops, whether that be support troops, whether that be anything in between. We would take SEALs in and out of the Philippines. We would take different special op groups in and out of other places, if you will.
Top secret stuff.
We don't always talk about those places. But
there's places like that we send missionaries to that their heads are they don't put their picture out there, they don't put their name out there, they don't even tell you. I've been to a couple of commissioning services where we don't know their name, we don't know where they're going,
they can't tell you where I'm going, I can't tell you who I'm going to be with, I can't even tell you what I'm going to be doing over there, but know that I'm going to be. My mission is to spread the gospel. Right. My mission is the Great Commission.
Right.
Go.
Just like your mission when you were commissioned into the Navy.
Yes.
Everything you did from that point on with respect to the Navy would always come back to whatever the Navy's primary directive is.
Right. That's correct. And so the church's primary directive in that same...
Go and make disciples.
Is go and make disciples.
I thought it was go and build churches.
Go and build churches, right? Go and provide water wells. Go and do all these things.
Is it not go build buildings?
No.
It's go make disciples.
No, it's not. It's not.
The prime directive.
I don't think Jesus ever said that. Whenever he left, I don't believe this goal was to go build the biggest church that you can ever build.
Have one more program than everybody else in town.
Right, because that's what's going to make you the best. No, go and make disciples.
Right, make disciples.
Baptizing them.
Yes.
So that they can in turn go and make
disciples. Absolutely. That was the whole point.
You and I, I'm pushing 50 and you're well over it at this point.
I'm on top of it.
Just saying.
Well over is an exaggerated situation. I'm on top of it.
Okay.
I'm all over it, though.
We're not going to, but the point is, we're not going to be here forever.
No.
So where are these
other disciples coming from?
Where are these disciple makers coming from? And they have to come from within. That's our job.
That's correct.
We had a motto: train your replacement.
Right.
And I think that should apply in churches as well. Train your replacement. Who's going to come behind you and be able to take this and not just maintain it, but to make it better, to take it to the next level. Because, if we just want to maintain stuff, that's easy.
Sure.
Anybody can sit there and do what we've always done and get what we've always gotten and stay the same path. But if we want to build and change and make new things happen,
right,
we have to be willing to accept new ideas. We have to be willing to
So
adapt.
22 years in the Navy. Okay. 22 years in the Navy. So from your first mission to the last mission, how many years between the first and the last mission that you went on?
Well, my first mission,
10, 15 between the first and the last one?
forgive me, was in Key West, Florida. I don't know if you've ever been to Key West, Florida around Halloween time. Don't recommend it.
Right.
For the God-fearing man, because there's plenty of debauchery. You thought New Orleans was bad? I saw Key West first, and boy, it'll make you turn all kinds of different shades of red. But from that mission to the first time the Navy ever sent me anywhere, to the last place I ever went, my mission changed drastically at the end. My mission was as an inspector, as a program manager at the end.
Well, the point I was going to get to is, did you have to, there was probably technological changes.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And you had to learn the new technology, or you weren't going to be
even within
helpful.
the same platform. When I first started working on the P3, we added so many avionics mods, and the flight station went from a all analog cockpit to
right.
an all digital.
Yeah, now they have drones, so that
within a span of
you fly it from someplace else.
And so the while the mission stayed the same,
okay,
the tools that we were given changed. The way that we completed the mission changed. The mission was always the same. The mission was always to track the bad guys in P3s, track the bad guys, so that other people could come in,
right,
and isolate them.
So
right.
your location changed, but your mission never did.
Mission never changed, right?
Right.
Much like the gospel. The gospel's never changing.
Right.
The Great Commission will always be the Great Commission.
Right.
There may be other ways that we have to go about spreading that good news.
Right.
I think, when you and I went to Vacation Bible School, it's drastically different than what it is now.
Sure.
One of the things I remember most about Vacation Bible School, growing up in Lynn, Missouri, we went to Solid Rock Baptist Church.
Okay.
Little bitty country church. If there were 100 people there on Sunday morning, we were busting the seams. But that's where we had Vacation Bible School. And I remember they had these little plastic cups. And anybody listening back home, if you remember those little orange cups that we always had, and we always had the exact same cookies and the exact same bug juice every day. But I'll never forget how great that Kool-Aid was.
Oh, yeah.
And how great those little, they were just the cookie with the hole in it, you put it on your pinky and eat it off your pinky. I thought it was the coolest guy in the world.
Ring.
How much has VBS changed?
Absolutely.
In those 40 some odd years.
Absolutely.
Since I first started going at 5, 6, 7 years old.
Absolutely.
Why then shouldn't we expect the church to be ever changing with a never changing gospel?
Exactly. And when we talk about, missions, and I think it's easy for us to think about somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, we're all, if you're a follower of Christ, you're on mission. So the question then, how do I define what it means to be on mission? And that's why I bring up the Navy stuff is, as long as you were in the Navy, you had a mission. You were on mission.
Right. And with that mission, there was always a goal, right? Which is the vision, right? Where are we going to be? What's the purpose of this mission? What vision do we expect to achieve? What is our goal? And how are we going to get there? Right? That was mission, vision, and guiding principles. That's one thing that has never changed throughout my entire time in the Navy. Here's your mission. Here's what we expect to accomplish from the mission, and here's how we're going to get there, right? Church life is not any different.
Sure.
Our mission is never changing.
Right.
Our vision could change based on where we're at, right? I'm sure that Ryan up in Seattle, his vision is drastically different way up in the Great Northwest than it is for us in the Bible Belt.
Yes.
So the guiding principles are going to be different.
And it's the methodology.
Yes, that's what your guiding principles are. How do we get there?
We all want to help people move along in their spiritual journey, wherever they are to wherever they need to be. It's just how do we go about doing that changes. You know, the one thing that shouldn't have changed is the on mission nature. I mean, when you're on a mission, you're never not on the mission. If you're on the mission, you're on the mission.
You're always on. Yeah, the mission. The mission's not over until the mission is complete.
Right. Well, and I watch a lot of NCIS.
Okay.
So and I don't know. You laugh because it's like whatever.
I like the show.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. When I watch NCIS New Orleans now.
Right.
And I'm like, hey, I wonder how accurate that is. But anyway.
Barely.
Barely accurate. But the one thing that always crops up is somebody that's in the military. We'll take Navy, for example. Somebody that's in the military, it doesn't matter if you're on naval grounds or you're not. Oh. It doesn't matter if you were, on your job duty or if you're off duty, you are still responsible for having the Navy seal on you.
Yes. Yeah.
Until you retire. And even then, there's still a lot.
Right. Even then, you have, yes, you need to serve with honor.
Right.
And to not bring a bad light to the Navy.
Right.
Right? There's plenty of that already happens. You don't need to shine a brighter light on it.
You don't need to add to the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
There will be plenty of problems on its own.
The church on its own, church has enough problems on its own.
Yes.
That we, as the individual commissioned people within it, we don't need to add to that.
No, I mean, we as a church, we as the church, global church,
Big C
Church, there aren't droves of people flocking to the church these days. In the way that, when we were growing up, church was something that you did because that's what everybody did.
Sure.
It's not so anymore.
No, it's not.
Church isn't what we always do. It's not what everyone does.
Right.
Even when this church moved here in 1979, everybody went to church. Your teachers went to church. Your shop owners went to church. Everything was closed on Sundays.
Right.
There weren't any ball games going on Sunday mornings. You didn't have soccer. You didn't have baseball. You had church. People went to church.
Right.
Our world has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission has not. The way of accomplishing the mission has got to.
Right. Well, and that's very true. One of the ways that I think we must begin that process is to realize that once you become a follower of Christ, you're on mission.
Yes.
You're never not on mission.
You're never not on mission.
But there seems to be a theory out there of life that would suggest that I can be on mission on Sundays, but I can do whatever I want the rest of the week. How'd that work out for you in the Navy?
Right, it's not okay.
See, and it's not okay here either, but for whatever reason, we think that it's okay that, hey, I did my church thing. Let me live my life.
Do what I do.
Let me do what I want to do when I want to do it. Stop bugging me about how I live on Thursday. And yet, that's the call. We're to be walking this walk all the time.
The question we have to ask in that moment, how are you affecting the mission?
Right.
Not your mission, the mission.
The mission.
The mission.
Right.
So, when people say see you doing whatever you want to do, however you want to do it on Thursday, and then they see you sitting in a pew praising God on Sunday.
How does that affect things?
We have to be mindful of not only who we are, but whose we are, to take a phrase out of the old school.
Sure.
We have got to represent Jesus in all that we do, in all that we say, and the way we interact with people. We have to reflect Jesus.
Every day.
Every day.
Every situation, every time.
And I'm not saying that God can't work through our mistakes. Don't hear that.
No, right.
But we have to be cautious to not intentionally make those mistakes.
Right.
Just because, Paul writes to the church in Rome, just because you're forgiven of your sins
doesn't mean to go do more.
Doesn't mean keep going to do it. Right?
Yeah.
Don't test God's graciousness.
Well, I want grace, so let me go sin more so I can get more grace. That's not how that works.
I taught a couple weeks ago. I'm just trying to make Jesus look good, because every time I do bad and ask for forgiveness, he always forgives me. Jesus doesn't need you to help him look good.
No.
Okay. No. You don't do it. This is the illustration I used with the kids a couple weeks ago. Dad, I misbehaved because I want you to know how great of a discipline you are to me and how great your discipline techniques are. So I'm just trying to show you off a little bit, Dad. I just want you to look good, Dad. I want you to have that bright light.
My gosh.
So
I'm not asking which one that was.
that was just an illustration. It was just an illustration. So we stay on mission
all the time.
In the Navy, we had a beginning and a middle and an end of a mission. And in church, we do too.
Sure.
The beginning of your mission is when you receive Christ.
Saved. Yeah.
The middle of your mission goes all the way until the end of your mission when Jesus calls us home.
Right. You die or he comes to get you.
It's the world's longest mission.
It's the world's longest mission.
You think of, a lot of times when we think of mission, we think of mission trips. We think of going somewhere and doing.
Sure. And I think that's part of the problem.
Right, I agree with you.
I've been on several, and I enjoy them every time. And, but the question still comes, why can we do it that way, but we can't just be on mission at home? I can tell 42 people that don't speak my language and use a translator, tell them about Jesus, but I can't talk to somebody that I already know.
That I have a relationship with.
And I can't just share out of my life. Maybe it's because my life and my words don't match. And that's the problem.
I got to stomp on toes, preacher.
But that's the whole issue, isn't it?
The
reason why we have people by the droves walking away from church is because what they see and what they hear are two different things.
Right. So we have to be cautious. We have to
absolutely.
We have to live our lives in such a way that we don't damage the image of Christ.
Right.
And that takes personal sacrifice.
Absolutely.
Personal discipline.
And that's why I think the word for love is sacrificial love. It's not just what God showed us,
right,
but it's what we're supposed to be showing to one another too. If he loved us sacrificially, we're supposed to love our brother and sister sacrificially. That's how 1 John wrote that. And if I say that I love God sacrificially, but I don't love my brother and sister sacrificially, I'm a liar, he says. And if our world sees nothing but liars, they get enough of that every day. They don't need it from us too.
Right.
Or they certainly don't want to give any time or attention to it.
And, having so much information at your fingertips nowadays, we have to be so careful.
Yeah.
Not to the point where we don't want to speak, but we have to be careful what we speak is the truth.
Right.
Because fact checkers are going to go back and say, well, that's not what this says, or that's not what that says. Or,
right.
It's tough. Not going to lie, it's tough.
But that's what we're called to do. We're called to be on mission. And for some, that's to go be a missionary on the other side of the world. And that is their call, and that's what God wants them to do. And I'm thankful that they answered that call. But for a vast many others of us, it is just do what you're supposed to do here.
Right.
And There's no more glory just because they're over there and you're over here. It's the same. It's just a different call.
To be the hands and feet of Jesus. That's our mission. Yes, we hope to see salvation through that.
Sure.
We can't provide salvation. Mm-mm. We can only lead.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And sometimes
it's the power of God unto salvation.
And people aren't going to follow something that they don't trust.
Right. And that's where it all begins.
You can't trust me, I'm not going to follow you.
Right.
Why should I believe you? I don't know you.
Right.
So it starts with relationships.
Every time. Every time.
And how do we as a church be in a relationship with our community around us?
I think it begins with each individual person recognizing the circle of influence they have and dealing with that.
Right. Yeah.
I think it might have less to do with what we program from the big C and might have a little more to do with what all those 200 people are doing out in their everyday lives. That maybe if we all just would do the right thing, do what's the next right thing.
Right.
If we would do that, we would actually might make a larger impact in our community. Therefore, if we were to do something from the church body into our community, it serves as a support to
what is already going on.
We're already doing by living our life right. Instead of, let's put all of our eggs in the basket of, the church does one thing to one family. You know, we're trying to provide gifts, 3 gifts each for 6 kids and a set of parents right now. Be a blessing. You can check it out on our Facebook page. And, you know, we want to gather that. That's awesome. That's great. And I want that family to recognize that came from First Baptist Church.
Right.
But that's one family that's being affected, and praise God that one family is going to be affected, and that one family might tell some other family that, hey, First Baptist Church loved us. But if we want to do those kinds of things, and we say, okay, well, hey, we're loving our community. No, you loved a family.
Right.
If the church community would start just loving their private communities that they live in and around, we would actually make a larger impact and have greater influence than trying to just put everything under the name of First Baptist.
Right.
How about we just put everything under the name of Jesus and I'm living my life? And I think that's what On Mission needs to be.
On mission at home.
Every day. You know, my wife's grandfather was not, I don't know if he was turned away, but he wasn't drafted in the war. And because he had an essential business to the war, that he made things that they needed. And he wanted to serve. And they said, Sam, you are serving, it's just not on the front line.
Right.
What you're doing is every bit as important as, like Rosie the Riveter.
Yeah.
You know, we tell you, what you're doing is supporting what's going on the front lines. If I'm not a missionary. Okay, that's not the only way.
That's not the only way.
If we would just live our lives here, then that's the base support that's needed for our missionaries to do what they do, for the local church to do what she does. But we can't just say, let's just have the church do it. No,
right?
We all have to do the part.
Because we are the church.
We are the church. This isn't the
This
church.
is a building.
It's a building. We, the people, are the actual church. You remember that old hand thing?
Here's the
church, and here's the steeple, and inside's all the people. Yeah, I
don't know how
it hurts
goes,
now.
exactly.
I have arthritis.
Because you're 50.
Right, your time's coming.
I have arthritis. I'm old too. I'm not old.
But yeah, just every day. It's every day.
Be on mission. Be on mission.
Every day.
And just, let others see Jesus in you.
Yeah.
I think they should write a song about that.
Maybe so.
They should write a song about that. Hey, we got some things going on at home, though, that we need to take care of. Yep. We got a work day coming up Saturday. Justice and Robin have done a ton.
Oh, goodness.
But there's still some work to be done to get this building emptied out into the gym so that the air conditioning and ceiling tiles and everything can be removed and reinstalled. In fact, just yesterday, Marilyn and Al went down and signed the paperwork for our loan. We're hoping to see that transaction clear today or tomorrow. So we're there. It's going to be a process. There's going to be some growing pains. There's going to be, but in the end, when this mission is complete, it's going to be so much better. And then, again, be a blessing this Christmas season. Let it be a season of giving.
Yes.
Let's be thankful for what we have. We just had Thanksgiving. But let's continue that thanks and be a blessing to others in our community. Because that's what we're called to do. Be the hands and feet of Jesus. So until next week,